Hello students, today we are going to discuss something about salts, right? So in the previous lectures we saw that the salts are produced when an acid and a base react, right? So what was the name of that reaction? It was neutralization reaction. So acid plus base gave you salt plus water. So we are going to study more about these salts now, right? So first topic under this is family of salts. So we are given a small activity. We have to write down the formula of the given salts. You can practice this and post it in comment section. Potassium sulfate, sodium sulfate, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, copper sulfate, sodium chloride, sodium nitrate, sodium carbonate and ammonium chloride. Right? Now, identify the acids and bases from which the above salts may be obtained. अब आपको acid और base identify करना है. Okay, you can identify which can react to give this particular salt. All right, so let's see one example. Suppose आप potassium sulfate लेते हो, right? So एक compound होगा जिसमें potassium present होगा और second compound होगा जिसमें हमारा sulfate present होगा, right? So what all things you can take? You can take sulfate as H2SO4. Okay, तो acid हो जाएगी हमारी sulfuric acid H2SO4, right? And potassium hydroxide ले सकते हो KOH. So one is base, one is acid. They can react to give you this particular salt. So this way आप सभी के ही means acids और bases identify कर सकते हो which all they are having. Okay. Now let's talk about family. Family of salts क्या होती है? Salts having the same positive or negative radicals are said to belong to a family. जैसे NaCl और Na2SO4 है तो they belong to the family of sodium salts क्योंकि जो positive radical है Na+ that is common in these. NaCl and KCl इसमें Cl common है तो chloride salts की family को belong करते हैं. Okay, so इसमें भी आप ऐसे families identify करने की कोशिश करो. This table elaborates all the answers of the previous question. तो हम इसमें डिस्कस करते हैं जैसे पोटेशियम सल्फेट है K2SO4 is the chemical formula. इसमें पॉजिटिव रेडिकल क्या है K+, नेगेटिव रेडिकल क्या है SO4 2-. तो ये कौन सी फैमिली हुई पोटेशियम सॉल्ट्स, राइट? So this way you can find out the answers for all the parts. Next is the pH of salts. Okay, pH क्या होगा salts का? Salts of a strong acid and a strong base are neutral with a pH value of 7. हमने देखा था pH scale पे जिन compounds की pH value 7 होती है they are neutral. Okay, तो इसमें ये neutral रहेंगे. और salts of a strong acid and a weak base are acidic with a pH value less than 7. एसिड यहाँ डोमिनेट कर गई तो वो एसिडिक बनेगा. एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस और वीक एसिड अगर रिएक्ट करते हैं देन यू गेट अ बेसिक नेचर of the salt. pH will be more than 7. All right, so these are the observations. So let's see this practically. Suppose you have a salt sodium chloride. Okay, it's soluble in water. Its action on litmus paper shows like its value comes out to be 7. So it's neutral. Okay. तो इसमें हमारा जो एसिड या बेस यूज किया है दैट इज HCl. HCl आप एसिड यूज कर सकते हो और बेस यूज कर सकते हो NaOH. ठीक है, तो NaOH भी स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस है और HCl भी स्ट्रॉन्ग एसिड है. तो स्ट्रॉन्ग एसिड एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस आर गिविंग यू अ न्यूट्रल काइंड ऑफ सॉल्ट. Similarly you can see for others. इसमें न्यूट्रल है HNO3 is a strong acid. Okay, HCl is a strong acid. बट यहाँ पे क्या हुआ एल्यूमिनियम क्लोराइड है तो आपने HCl यूज किया. ओके, एंड एल्यूमिनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड यूज किया एज अ बेस. एल्यूमिनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड इज अ वीक बेस तो एसिड डोमिनेट कर गई तो ये एसिडिक नेचर का हो गया. ठीक है, now let's see this is a weak acid. CH3CaOH is a weak acid. तो इस वजह से इसमें बेस स्ट्रॉन्ग है हमारा, सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड यूज हुआ होगा इसमें तो इट्स बेसिक इन नेचर. These are the various conclusions. Now let's talk about chemicals from common salt. कॉमन सॉल्ट क्या होता है? कॉमन सॉल्ट जो आप किचन में यूज करते हो, व्हाइट कलर्ड, इट इज सोडियम क्लोराइड. Okay, and it is formed by the combination of hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide. Fine, both are strong. Acid is also strong, base is also strong, so you get a salt which is neutral. All right, this salt is used in food. Okay, and it's a neutral salt. Sea water जो होता है उसके अंदर भी काफी salts dissolved होते हैं, and from that you separate the sodium chloride out of it. Okay, solid salt के भी deposits हैं काफी जगह world में, and these crystals are often brown due to impurities. So this is called rock salt. Okay, now beds of rock salt were formed when seas of bygone ages dried up. Sea dry up हो जाएगा, water has gone up, so salts are left. Rock salt is mined like coal. Okay, and in the freedom struggle also, this common salt had an important role in Mahatma Gandhi's Dandi March. Okay, so their salt played an important role. See, common salt जो है काफी chemicals को बनाने के लिए as a raw material use होता है. ठीक है, what are these? Sodium hydroxide, baking soda, washing soda, bleaching powder. इन सब को बनाने के लिए it is one of the like reactants which you are using. Okay, so first let's talk about sodium hydroxide. So when electricity is passed through an aqueous solution of sodium chloride, aqueous solution of sodium chloride को हम एक unique name देते हैं, that is brine. Okay, तो आप electricity pass करोगे इसके through, it decomposes to form sodium hydroxide, right? This process is called Core alkali process because of the products formed. Core is for chlorine and alkali is for sodium hydroxide. तो इसकी जो रिएक्शन है वो क्या होगी? NaCl plus H2O gives twice NaOH plus Cl2 plus H2. So chlorine gas and hydrogen gas are released, chlorine at anode and hydrogen at cathode, right? And sodium hydroxide solution is formed near the cathode. All right. So these three products you get, and just go through this particular setup also. So next is the bleaching powder, right? So you have seen that chlorine is produced during the electrolysis of aqueous sodium chloride. Chlorine gas produced हुई थी. Now this chlorine gas is used for the manufacture of bleaching powder. कैसे? You take dry slaked lime CaOH whole twice और उसमें ये आप chlorine add कर दो. So you get CaOCl2 plus H2O. Now this particular compound is the bleaching powder. ये काफी useful होता है. It is used for bleaching of cotton and linen in the textile industry. Okay. Wood pulp in paper factories, washed clothes in laundry, right? Oxidizing agent की तरह use होता है ये काफी chemical industries के अंदर, and for making drinking water free from germs. तो काफी uses हैं bleaching powder के. ये जो chlorine है ये use होगा इसमें. So next one is baking soda. ये generally kitchen में use होता है to make tasty crispy pakoras, right? And sometimes it's added for faster cooking. जैसे सपोज आपको राजमा बॉईल करने हैं तो उसमें आप बेकिंग सोडा ऐड कर सकते हो, थोड़ा फास्ट बॉईल हो जाता है. और इसका दूसरा नेम है सोडियम हाइड्रोजन कार्बोनेट. दिस इज द केमिकल नेम. NaHCO3 is the formula, right? So how you manufacture this? NaCl plus H2O plus CO2 plus NH3. This is ammonia. It gives you ammonium chloride and sodium hydrogen carbonate. So this is your baking soda, right? So if we check its pH, okay, it is a mild non-corrosive basic salt. Fine, इसका basic की तरफ आएगा, greater than 7 आएगा इसका pH value. तो cooking के time इसमें क्या होता है? If you add heat to this, it will give sodium carbonate, water and carbon dioxide. Okay, so this reaction will take place when it is heated during cooking. And sodium hydrogen carbonate has got various uses in the household also. क्या क्या uses हैं इसके? Let's see. It's used for making baking powder. ठीक है, कैसे बनता है? बेकिंग सोडा में आप मिक्स कर देते हो mild edible acid such as tartaric acid. Edible acid वो होती है जो हम खा सकते हैं. Okay. So इसके साथ अगर हम एक acidic component H plus ऐड करेंगे, it gives CO2 plus H2 and sodium salt of acid. Right. This carbon dioxide produced during the reaction can cause bread or cake to rise, make them soft and spongy. तभी आप बेकिंग पाउडर यूज करते हो ना जब आप केक वगैरह बनाते हो, फॉर दैट. नेक्स्ट, It is also an ingredient of antacids क्योंकि ये basic है nature में, alkaline है, acid को neutralize कर देगा और relief provide करेगा. And very important, it's used for soda acid fire extinguishers. Okay. So next is washing soda. What it is? Na2CO3.10H2O, right? So sodium carbonate can be obtained by heating baking soda. Okay, and recrystallization of sodium carbonate gives washing soda. So this is a basic salt. Okay, so you have Na2CO3 plus 10H2O. It gives Na2CO3.10H2O. Fine. So sodium carbonate and sodium hydrogen carbonate are very useful chemicals for many industrial processes. Let's see how washing soda is helpful. It's used in glass, soap and paper industries, manufacture of sodium compounds like borax, okay, cleaning agent for domestic purposes, and removal of permanent hardness of water. So let's see if the crystals of salts are really dry, okay. So you have copper sulfate, you take it in a dry boiling tube. ये रही आपकी boiling tube जिसमें आपने copper sulfate crystals add करें. So now you heat it through a burner, okay? Hold this tube with the help of a pair of tongs, okay? You will observe some change in color that you have to check out, fine? So copper sulfate crystals, which seem to be dry, they contain water of crystallization, okay? When we heat the crystals, this water is removed and the salt turns white. उसका color change हो जाता है, okay? Now, if you moisten the crystals again with water, you will find that blue color of the crystals reappears because ये water of crystallization add हो जाएगा फिर से molecules के साथ और फिर उसे वो original blue color दे देगा, right? So water of crystallization is the fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt. Fine. Copper sulfate में 5 water molecules present होते हैं. Okay. So this is hydrated copper sulfate. CuSO4.5H2O. Similarly, Na2CO3.H2O. इसमें भी हमारा water of crystallization present था. Okay. So one other salt which possesses water of crystallization is gypsum. This is a very important one. CaSO4.2H2O. So this has 2 molecules of water of crystallization. Next is our plaster of Paris. This is very, very important from exam point of view. Okay. So if we heat gypsum at 373 Kelvin or 100 degrees Celsius, it will lose water molecules and it will become calcium sulfate hemihydrate. So CaSO4.12H2O. This is called plaster of Paris, right? This is a substance which the doctors will use as plaster for supporting the fractured bones in the right position. तो प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस बेसिकली वाइट पाउडर होता है एंड इफ यू मिक्स वाटर विद इट तो आप ये जिप्सम मिल जाएगा आपको जैसे CaSO4.12H2O plus 1.5 molecules of water, it gives CaSO4.2H2O. Fine. Note that only half a water molecule is shown to be attached as water of crystallization. So how do you get this? It is written in this form because 2 formula units of CaSO4 share 1 molecule of water actually. Okay. So what are the uses of plaster of Paris? It's for making toys, materials for decoration, and for making smooth surfaces, right? And have you ever thought कि plaster of Paris को हम ये name क्यों देते हैं? So it has some historical connection with Paris. Try to find it out, right? And here come the 5 important questions which we are going to answer one by one. So the first question is common name of CaOCl2. Just now we studied its bleaching powder, or you can call it chlorinated lime also. Now substance that yields bleaching powder with chlorine. What is that substance? It is calcium hydroxide and we have the equation also. Then sodium compound which is used for softening hard water is sodium carbonate, right? So what will happen if a solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate is heated? Okay, it will decompose to form sodium carbonate, water and carbon dioxide. This is the reaction involved. Next is the reaction between plaster of Paris and water. This is very important reaction. So this we studied right now. So this lecture is very important from exam point of view. All the equations involved, terminologies, everything, please learn for your exam. And watch this lecture again and again in order to clarify your concepts. Still, if you have any doubts, you can post it in the comment section. Thank you.